All right, and welcome to the Created Studios podcast. I'm your host with the most, Jordan Mode. Welcome back. If you guys have caught the last few episodes, we've had some amazing guests, but nothing is in comparison to who we got here today. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce you all to one of my good friends, Nashville-based mixing engineer, musician, and an all-around phenomenal producer, and we're going to have a phenomenal talk today. The one and only Tristan Roberts. Tristan, thank you so much for making this happen today, man.
Dude, thank you so much. That was such a good introduction for me. Oh, I really did like the host with the most.
I get that all the time. So that started as a joke. The first day I did it, our studio director was the original host, and he's like, "Jordan, you go on stage and do this all the time. Go for it." So I think the first episode I did was with a photographer, and I was like, "Well, how am I going to host this?" And like they just go record, and I'm like, hi, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host with the most short, and they loved it so much that it just stuck.
That's incredible.
So I guess I have a catchphrase now. So
well, there you go.
But we could do that in another episode, obviously. But today is going to be all about Tristan. Tristan, you and I have been friends for quite some time now, and for many people who don't know you or don't know what you've done, and we're going to dive into everything. But let's start from like what you're doing right now and give a little background of who you are.
Oh gosh, what I'm doing right now. Oh, that's a full podcast. No, I've recently my like most recent thing that I'm doing right now is I've bought a bunch of like in-ear IEM rig gear, the new Behringer wing console, like all that stuff, and I'm putting it together, and I'm going to start renting that out.
Nice.
As well as use it for my band, which is like the main purpose of me getting it.
Oh yeah.
It's that full rig that I said like, this is what I'm going to end up with, and I just went ahead and did it because I figured out how much I could potentially rent it for. But that's one business move. I also have been doing lessons for people for like music production, or just some older guys just need to learn how to use Pro Tools. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just that, and it's really cool to get to do like lessons and to teach because it really solidifies what you know. So I do that, and then I do live sound as well, which is I haven't gotten into front of house just yet, but I might migrate that way just to kind of play with it, just to say I've done it.
Heck yeah, man.
But I'm mostly back of house for Lainey Gardner, and then I actually did some tour management stuff with her as well. That's a different story.
Very cool.
And then I've got music production with my own studio. I've got mixing, mastering, recording, and I've discovered recently that I really enjoy doing sessions with like the same artists.
Heck yeah.
So I've like really changed things from where I was like reaching out to just work with everybody and anybody, like 150 artists, to like, man, I really just want to work with like the same 15 people all year long and build relationships with people and just help them with the music and find any way that I can to like use my network to just really help everybody. And then I also do like studio maintenance for people. I do studio installs, which is just like people that either don't know how to use a patch bay or don't want to, mm-hmm. that have the money that can just pay me to come out and fix it for them. So I'll do a lot of that, and it gets me out of the house and out of the studio. And the same thing for live. It's like a little mini vacation. So it's right now I'm like full time in audio and not having to do anything I don't want to do. I'm full freelance. I can just be like, nah, I don't want
to. I'm good, thanks.
And it's like the freedom to be able to do that, even though like if I do that, you know, are the bills going to get paid?
Yeah, you got that certainty, and that's, oh my gosh, it's such a freeing feeling.
It's so nice to wake up in the morning and be like, you know, I could just get in the hot tub for like 2 hours.
Dude, it makes me so happy to hear that, because like you and I, when I first met you, you had just recently graduated from MTSU, and I had recently just moved to Nashville from Full Sail University, and our paths kind of crossed weirdly because you worked briefly at House of Cards. I did too for a little while, but not at the same time. And then you worked on my band, the Hungry and Dangerous' first album, and which was an amazing experience with you. You were such a great producer on that one with us.
Thanks, man.
And like since then, like, you know, you and I kind of went off and did our own things, and that's what we were talking about before this podcast, is how crazy how fast time flies. But Dude, it's just so cool to see you doing it because, man, if anyone deserves it, it's you. Like, not to toot your horn, but you really do put in the time, the effort. You have that special eye at mixing, production, really everything. It's just like when Tristan Roberts is in the room, and you can use this if you want, whatever, but when Tristan Roberts is in the room, there's a sense of calmness because it's like if anything is to go wrong, you can turn to him and he's going to have some idea how to fix it. Or he's going to have option B, C, D, E, and F. And it was always like that working with you, man. And I tell everybody that about you.
Dude, yeah. And like, it's funny how a lot of times I'll just pitch myself as like, I'm just a fixer. I just fix everyone's problems. Like I'm just, and it's weird because it's like, who am I? Am I a music producer, musician, vocalist, guitarist, engineer, mix engineer, mastering engineer? What am I? Who am I?
Yeah.
Where am I? You know? And it's been like so crazy to kind of like identify like which one of these things I want to be. And you can really just do it all. And in the music industry, you kind of do like a lot of things. And even if they are careers for everyone, like you can niche down, sure. Like you can just be a mix engineer, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
And you can make it doing everything or just really just doing what you love to do. And like my advice to everyone has always been do what you love to do and then find a way to make money doing it.
Exactly.
And I may have heard that somewhere, read it somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe it was a John Merchant quote.
It may be. And like I look at a lot of like him when in myself of like that's who I want to be kind of, you know.
And that's even funnier too. We were just talking about that a minute ago. Was so John Merchant, who some of you may know who've watched this podcast. We hope to get him on here as a guest one day. He frequents Creative here all the time, and I didn't even know you were taught under him, which is so crazy. Again, the full circle in this series, unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
But dude, it's so cool. And I guess what I want to do with this episode is obviously dive deep into the career that you've had and how you've gotten to this point, because it is really important, I think, for people who are trying to get into this industry, or maybe they're in the industry now and they're at that like crossroads of, oh no, what am I going to do? What is my next step? And I think you're kind of one of those guys, and it's going to sound crazy. You're probably like, no, man, you have no idea. Is like you've always been able to navigate those twists and turns so well. And you're like, okay, well, if I can't do this anymore, I'm going to start doing this and I'm going to make this work. And I want to go back to the very beginning. Where did this love for music all start? And like, what made you want to pursue it?
It's so hard for me to track down like where it came from. Because when I was 4, I remember I want a guitar. I remember that. I remember dropping that immediately. I remember trying to play trumpet. I played that through high school. I started that in 5th grade. And I did that for like 10 years. And now I don't touch it at all. And it's funny. I will listen to people and talk to them about their stories. And I'll say, hey, what did you play? What did you do? And what is your story? Because for me, whenever I'm writing all day long, it's melodies. I can do melodies. But I struggled a lot with chords. I struggled a lot with music theory and understand all of that stuff. But I look back, playing trumpet, you get one note at a time. That's all you get. You can't play 2. So it's melodies over chords all day. That's all it is for like 10 years.
Yeah. So
for me, I'm like, that makes so much sense why I do that. And I think where music clicked for me is I found this website long ago, before Pro Tools, before any of that. I think maybe when I was 12 years old, where I could build loops and put them together and create music out of it. And that was the coolest thing in the world to me. But I was so upset that I couldn't change the loops. I couldn't edit it. It was just, here's this loop.
Have fun.
Yeah. And there was no way to change the tempo. It was just some weird website that was like, build these songs that are already done. Yeah, terrible. And I said it out loud. I was like, man, I really wish I could just like record my own sounds and like do my own thing. And my parents were just like, yeah, you could totally do that. There's also a career path. And like there's people that do that all the time. And that I got introduced to a mix engineer at the time to where I could just pick his brain and like learn from him. And I don't remember if that was like 12 or 16 years old at that point. But I ended up taking that and running with it and going from age 16 is when I produced like my first artist. Like I was charging people to come into the studio and record, and I was reading books on production and trying to figure out who or what kind of producer I was going to be. And I just kind of like latched onto it and didn't let it go. And I still haven't.
Who was like a big inspiration for you as a producer? Like, who did you admire?
Mike Shinoda.
Okay.
You know Mike Shinoda?
Yeah, a bit of his stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool though.
Big Linkin Park guy. Then he has his solo stuff.
Yeah.
And he's worked with a lot of artists as well. And, you know, I don't know much about him at all, but his sound and everything that he does is a lot of like what I've tried to be of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really, it's funny. It's going to seem a little random here, but I've kind of come to terms with like this identity crisis kind of thing of whenever we go into this career, it's almost, I'm 100,000% musician. Mm-hmm. This is all I am. This is music. Everything I do revolves around this.
Yeah.
And you forget that you're also a human being.
Yes.
In that. And I forgot that for a while. And what it took for me to really kind of like get out of that was to notice the things myself and say like, well, why is it that I can be invited back to these rooms or that people come back and work with me?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because I'm good at what I do? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the feedback I get, it's not like, sure, yeah, everything sounds great, but anybody can make anything sound great.
Exactly.
And it was a lot of the feedback I was getting was like kindness, comfortability. It was the things that they were telling me is like, you made me feel more comfortable in this room than anybody has ever made me feel. And that's where I started looking at like, that's me. That's my personality.
Yeah.
That's what I brought to the table to audio engineering. I could take that and put that in any field of doing anything in life.
Yeah.
And it's going to remain there. Is that like, it's always going to be giving without expectation. It's always going to be kindness. It's always going to be trying to make everybody as comfortable as they can be in the room.
Yeah.
And that for me, like, solved that because I was like, I bring a lot to it. It's not like I am my own human being.
Yeah. That's such a good point, dude, because like you, when I was growing up, my biggest influence as a producer was Mutt Lange. I literally adored every record he ever worked on. And the one thing I remember watching interviews with him and he always said, I'm going to be hard on the people I work with because I know they can do great things if they're motivated right. And like there's that whole quote unquote rumored story that when Rick Allen of Def Leppard lost his arm, he had this vivid dream that he thought he was playing drums to a song off Pyromania and his arm was falling off while he was doing it, and Mutt Lange's in his ear going, you're going to be the greatest drummer of all time. You're going to do this and you're going to do it better than anybody else. And Rick Allen loses his arm in a car accident before their biggest record they've ever made, and he goes, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to go find a way to make this work. And he gets a drum kit that not only allows him to play the snare with his foot, but he becomes if you've never seen Rick Allen play live, you have to. He's amazing. And like, I think he's better now than he was with two arms. And I've always admired that because when like I work with people, they're always like, yeah, you seem to be very stern on this and that. I'm like, that's just like the polar opposite where I'm like, no, I know how good you are. And like, I want you to know that you can be as good as you want to be, and I'm going to get you there. And same thing, like, but at the same time, you want to have that mentality of, I'm doing this for you. I want to make you feel like you're being heard, and I want you to feel like when you're done with this, this is the best dang record I ever put out. And like, and that's what makes me want to come back. Not even just the production, but like the whole process. And that's so important.
I always tell artists at the end of the day, I am here for you and the music. Mm-hmm. And I have my opinions and I have my things that I think is going to make it the best it can be, but I am not going to be rigid. I'm not going to say, this is the only way we can do this, unless it's just so hurtful to the music that I just don't want to work on it anymore. And it's rare. It's rare that happens. And even more so now that I can just tell them, trust me.
Yeah.
And they do.
Well, they should if they're paying you, right?
Right. Right. And that's where we can get into this story of me working with Jelly Roll. I think where, for me, whenever I was working for him, I was a salaried employee. Mm-hmm. And it felt way different. Like the psychological thing in my brain was like, I'm here and just just working for somebody in a studio, just doing the thing. And I feel like it wasn't as good for the music as it could have been, because I feel like people are coming to me for what they want versus the other way around.
Mm.
So it was like a job.
Yeah.
And I think with my studio and having people come to me and trust me with the things, I can really add to the music and really be involved in it more than feeling like an employee and kind of just like felt like I was put in a box.
Yeah.
You know?
And you're having to work within that box, and that can be kind of sucks.
Yeah. And really, like, it's not like anybody put me in that box. I put myself there.
Yeah, but you wanted to be in that box.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's that like whole psychological, it's like, well, if I have a job, I'm going to do the job, and you do the job. But if I did that now, I would approach things differently.
That's fair.
And I would try and keep myself out of that box.
So how did that all begin for you? Like, because I know you graduated from MTSU. Now you're in Nashville. You're an engineer trying to get your start. Like, what got you to that role with Jelly Roll?
It's kind of funny because I thought it was just like an accidental thing that happened, you know, and it kind of was, because there was a Facebook post that was made, and a buddy of mine tagged me in it, and it was somebody looking for a hip hop artist engineer.
Okay.
And I applied for it. I sent in my resume, and the email basically was like, I'm not a hip hop engineer. I don't have any hip hop experience. However, I do have rock experience, and et cetera, whatever else I put in there. But they called 9 people before they called me, just going down the list. No one answered their phone.
Wow.
I answered as like the 9th or 10th caller and told them I'd meet with them in 30 minutes, and had a full suit on whenever I went to go meet him. Told Jelly he was better than Everlast. And then, history.
Yeah.
The next day, or maybe a week later, I think I met with Jelly and his daughter, and like, it's history. And I always thought it was an accident. My buddy talked to me about that. He was like, honestly, man, the opportunity was there and you grabbed it.
Yeah.
And the opportunities are always there. There's always opportunities. You just have to be open to grab it.
Seizing the moment. Yeah.
And seizing the moment. That's right.
That's crazy that they called 8 other people before they called you, and none of them picked up.
No
Isn't
one
that
answered
wild?
the phone. I almost didn't answer the phone. And if I didn't answer the phone just then, it was like maybe an hour after I submitted my resume in.
Oh my gosh, that's so wild.
I never answer the phone for phone numbers that I don't know unless I'm expecting a call.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't expecting a call. I just had a feeling. And I was like, I'm going to answer this time.
Yeah.
And I did. I was like walking out the door like it was a bad time, and picked up the phone, and like it's history. I did that for like 3 years, from 2019 to 2023.
That's nuts. I think you were the one who told me that, was like, even if you don't know the phone number, just pick it up anyways. And I think that was like, you told me that because I was like, I'm so tired of getting all these spam calls. And you're like, dude, you never know who's calling you. Pick it up. And honestly, I've done that, and it has gone some ways. Like, I'll be honest. But that's our generation, man. Our generation's like, if I don't know the number, I'm not picking up, leave a voicemail. But like, I don't know, sometimes you may miss opportunity, might actually be calling you right now, and you don't even know.
It could be. And I've got to set up my voicemail now to tell people to text me. It's like, I tell people all the time, if you're going to call me, text me so that I can see what's going on, because I'm in sessions all the time. So I can't listen. I can't be on the phone.
Yeah.
And like, one thing I do recommend is if you can call those numbers back that same day.
Oh, it's huge.
If it's huge, because somebody needs something, right?
It's urgency. That's the name of the game with the industry, is everyone is needing something right now. And if you could be that person who can deliver right now, oh my gosh, you'll never not have a job.
Being ready for opportunities.
Exactly. And that's so cool. And that's why we make this podcast, is like to, show people, like, because I think there's this facade when it comes to any part of the entertainment industry, whether it be film, whether it be podcasting, music, whatever. Everyone's like, "Whoa, that job seems so cool," but like, "Oh, I had to be at the right place, rub shoulders with the right person." It's like, no, it's just kind of being ready for opportunity. And they always say, when opportunity meets preparation, big things happen. And just keep honing your craft. And like, when opportunity does jump up and it looks like something you might be remotely interested in, take the dive. Worst thing happens, you tried it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And that's super cool, man. So you're rolling with Jelly Roll now. This is happening. You're working with some bum named Jordan on a Hungry and Dangerous album. So what started? So like what ended up happening next? So like you're this is all happening for you now. Where did your career go from this?
So from that, it was in 2023. I ended up. I mean, we went through COVID and everything during that, and they
Yeah.
took care of me. Like his Jelly Roll's family was incredible to me. That time period was incredible. There's nothing I can, and I stayed for 3 years. I stayed as long as I could because I saw that thing moving. Everyone did, and we were going to do whatever we could to stick around and do what we could to make it happen. And COVID was tough. Everything got shut down, and they kept me on payroll. And
Which
they
is
said,
amazing.
"Stay home." And my mom passed away during that time frame as well.
I remember that.
I had some
yeah.
heart to hearts with him and his family as well. And they said, "Go spend time with your family, spend all the time you can." And they gave me a lot of insight there, and they just the coolest people.
Yeah.
And everything you see on TV, the authenticity about who he is and who his family is, it's all real. It's all
I
real.
love that so much.
But out of that, I felt like I lost the big fish artist. I didn't have a lot of artists I was working with. I spent most of my time doing that because that was like the thing I believed in. I even stopped working at House of Cards and was like, oh, okay. So if I can spend more time here, maybe this will result in better things.
Yeah.
So I did. And it really did. I met so many different people when I was available more often. Again, being available for the opportunities, I amassed probably 150 credits during that time period
Which is
for Jelly Roll.
amazing. That's amazing,
It's kind
dude.
of crazy. I did so many features. I was like his personal vocal engineer. So
Yeah.
if he was around and I was around, we were recording something.
Which is amazing. What a cool experience. How was that, like working with Jelly Roll like that?
It was really cool because it wasn't just like he was doing a feature or he was recording a song. A lot of the times I was in the songwriting room with him and I would play the beats for him and he would write off the top of his head with his friends or other songwriters or whatever we had going on. So it was cool to see just every side of the industry. And I remember being so nervous coming into that gig
Yeah.
and just not knowing what was going on. I had no clue. And coming out of it, it gave me the opportunity because I was there at maybe we need you this week, maybe we don't. I was on retainer. I was salaried.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
So they were like, it'll be 50 hours one week,
10
0 the next,
yeah.
or whatever it might be. And they said, just be around and ready for the 50-hour weeks and it'll be great.
Yeah.
And it was. And it gave me a lot of time during those off weeks to do
Other projects. Yeah.
other projects or 8 to 10 hours in the studio to where I could learn.
Which is amazing. So yeah, so not even on those off weeks, you're like, okay, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna start learning how to do this. I'm gonna learn, which now looking in retrospect was huge for you because now you're the guy now in Nashville. You're the guy that people call, like we were talking earlier about, like, oh no, my Apollo's down. You're like, all right, I could be there in 10 minutes. I'll figure it out. It's
Oh yeah.
so like I remember talking with you during a lot of this. I remember you were kind of going through so much at that time, and it was hard to as like a friend. How can I help him? How can I be there for him? Show him like I'm supporting him. But yeah, I remember you were just like, dude, if I'm not answering, just realize I am just so busy it hurts. Yeah.
Oh, man, it was such a painful time period. It really was. Like they had me at my worst.
But they got the best out of you,
They
which is
did.
what makes it so amazing.
They did. And who knows where I would be without all of that.
Yeah.
And everything happens for a reason, and that entire time period was a blessing. It really was.
Yeah.
And yeah.
No, it's so cool because I remember you started working with some other artists during that time, and you started really it was like almost like every other week. I remember you were posting on your Instagram like, "Hey, new release from this guy, new release from her, or that," and I'm like, "Man, he's giving me that jump. Like I need to get myself better." And actually, yeah, that was like my wake up call when I got to Nashville was when I met you and saw how hard you were working. And I thought I was a hard worker. I was like, no, I got to go even harder. And I actually thank you for that because that really did give me a mindset change that I desperately needed. But dude, it's so cool to hear the story, and especially someone who was watching it, day by day, and then obviously we kind of lost, touch with each other for a little while. But Okay, so now we're now heading towards 2023 to 2025. You're rolling with Jelly Roll. You got all these other clients going on. So
Hmm.
what was like your mindset now? Like, okay, I've kind of metaphorically made it. Um, what's next for Tristan? Like, what do I want to do
Yeah.
next?
So 2023, I lost that gig. It was expected. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it was a move, a push in a different direction, and it was known. It was like, well, none of us are going to come along for this.
Mm-hmm.
This is the next level, and it was a hard time, dude. It was, what am I going to do now?
Mm-hmm.
And I spent a year doing stagehand work,
Oh,
and
okay.
just it it felt like the bottom of the barrel work. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it isn't. The people there are incredible in Nashville. Everyone
Yeah.
here is incredible because they're all musicians. They're all artists.
All just trying to make it.
And I got a lot of work there too. And it was the one job where I could say, well, I can pick it up and lay it down anytime I need if I have a session comes up.
Yeah.
So it allowed me this ability to then push for my studio. And this year, starting in January, I dropped it all together and said, I'm just doing studio stuff from this point on, well, audio stuff from this point on, because all of the things I was doing, it really panned out. I started to do the math and I said, well, if I can spend 10, 12 hours sitting around on a job site doing something, I can spend 10 or 12 hours to find somebody to record in my studio.
Exactly.
And I did, and I've been doing it ever since.
That's a great viewpoint. Yeah.
I had to have that job and to drop from Jelly to be able to have this thing. I was very comfortable in just getting paid to come by and to do whatever. So I didn't go and find a ton of different artists to work with. I needed to push.
Yeah.
And it's been incredible so far, and it awful at the same time.
I was gonna say, how does like was it scary jumping into that, like going back to
Absolutely.
freelancing and being like, okay, like I may not if I don't get something today, I'm not getting paid. Like that's got to be a really scary situation.
Oh yeah, and I had to have a conversation with my wife, and it's funny because I had been telling her for the longest time. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this." And whenever I finally had a conversation, I said, "Hey, is this going to be okay if I do this?"
Mm-hmm.
And I started laying out things of plans and what I was going to do. And she was like, "Well, you've been telling me all along, but this is the first time you've actually like asked me." So it was like I was saying a lot of things, but I wasn't doing the
You
thing.
were thinking about it, but you weren't ready to execute.
Yeah. And when I finally came to her and was like, "Hey, we need to, it's going to be a little rough couple months. I know I've said this before. It's about to be real rough because
Yeah.
I'm dropping everything and I'm going full into this. And I need to know if it's okay right now to do that."
Yeah.
And she was with me from the jump. Like, I needed her to be there and understand that things could get a little hard at first,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll get better. And I said, I need 2, 3 months, and I
Just to
think
kind of build it.
I can make it all work. And so far, so good.
That's amazing, dude. I love that. I love that for you too. It's
Yeah.
and I think that's a really important takeaway here for anyone who's trying to get in the freelancing world. I mean, yeah, it can be a lot. People like the idea of chasing down payments, this and that. Like I always hate hearing the brutal side of it, and it's like it doesn't have to be that way. If
Yeah.
you can just sit down, build a plan, especially with ChatGPT, it's they literally will
Oh
put together a
man.
whole thing for you. Um, just put something together and be consistent and be authentic and like that goes I think goes way farther than people realize,
Oh
especially in
yeah.
the industry like this. Yeah.
My biggest values that I want to maintain for being in the studio and doing everything how I want to do with my career in life is to just be 100% authentic, be real, be honest, be kind, and to make sure that everyone is the most comfortable they can be
Yeah.
in any room that I go in. And that being said, it's when I do that, I meet a lot of people, I make a lot of friends because I treat everyone with the respect that I think everyone deserves. And when you do that, you set yourself apart, believe it
Yeah.
or not, because not everyone out there will do that.
I
And
agree.
I find a lot of people that come from LA, and it's like, man, everyone there is mean.
Yeah. Sorry, Kevin. Our studio manager, other studio manager who works with me, he's from LA. He worked at Chalice out there, so he worked with like Future, Post Malone, all these guys. But he is the most non-LA guy you'll ever meet. He's just so
Incredible.
casual, like really mellow dude. But I couldn't agree more. It's so funny.
That's the story a lot of people have, and even like most of the clients that I have come to me, not only is it the best thing that they've gotten, it's also the most comfortable room they've been in. I'm the nicest engineer they've had. It just seems like a lot of people are jaded because they're working on things they don't want to work on.
Yeah, and that was the big thing with Create It when we opened this up. The idea was, imagine the kid who this is his first record. He's coming to you or he's coming to here, and it's like he's sitting outside going, okay, I'm gonna go do this, but then like there is still that anxiety going like, what if they're not good people? What if I mess up? What if I break something? What if it's like they're going to go through the checklist and they're ultimately just going to drive away. So the idea why we don't have doors on the studio is there's no excuse not to come in. And we want people to come in with a huge greeting and like, we're here to help you from start A to the finish line. And you were always like that too with me, because when I came to you with my band, we hardly even had an idea. I just had a collection of songs that I was like, I need to do this. And one of your first questions goes, okay, but like, what's your goal? Like, what's the
passion?
What's the passion? Yeah. And
I want to hear about your passions. I want to know what the real deal is.
You were able to get, and like, last week when we had William James on here, he was one of my good friends. Me and him are so funny because we're so like vocally. We both started around the same time, and I actually told the story of how you got when I walked into your studio. I was like scared because I'd never done vocal recording like that, and when I came in to do, I don't remember what song it was. It might have been Insomniacs, but you looked at me and go, "Hey, we're just gonna have fun today. That's all it's gonna be." And you hit record, and man, I can only imagine how horrible the first few takes were. But obviously come very far away since. But I just remember you going, okay, you got it, but I need to feel it. I need to feel it. Give me more, give me more, give me more. And like, dude, you were so good at that. And you made me feel so comfortable and so like I could be myself. And that to me is like a huge, huge strength if you can do that as a producer. Because a lot of guys are like, dude, this guy can't sing. This guy can't do this. Why is he even here? Why am I taking his money? I'm going to spend all day. It's like, no, because then you ended up getting the best out of me, and those songs came out pretty dang good. And like, and that gave me the confidence to go into other studios and start doing, and actually start being myself. So I give you a lot of credit for that, man. You're really good at that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
It's, I think that's super important that everyone is comfortable in the room. And whenever I first have a recording session with someone, I don't write off the first session as like, oh, everyone's going to be weird or whatever, but I will write off that first hour or two, and I'll make sure that everyone gets comfortable. And they always say it's like, well, the first take is always the best take. No, the first take is always the worst take.
It is.
And I will say that again and again because it's always the most uncomfortable take. Mm-hmm. Unless, of course, you've gotten so comfortable in the room. Even then, you step in front of a microphone, it's a different experience. It's not the same as stepping on a stage or anywhere else.
Oh, yeah. It's like you hit that record button, everyone forgets who they are for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, and if you have multiple people in the room, you have everybody listening to your most intimate stories, and just it is something special to be in a room with somebody while they are just, it's the first time this song might have been heard by anyone.
Yeah.
So it could be about their dad that passed away. It could be about their lost love. It could be about anything. And to be able to be comfortable in a room to do that, it takes a lot for people sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm trying to do is to make sure you are comfortable in front of that microphone, and that you understand that no one's judging you here, and that we're here to do something amazing together. And that's what we're doing. And I think usually that's enough to break people out of it. And I'll give them a few takes through, let's get the jitters out. Let's get everything out, work it out. And, everybody's anxious. Everybody has something going on.
Oh yeah.
I'm the most anxious guy in the room, I promise. It's all internal.
But you don't show it. Like, that's the thing too, is people, like if you work with Tristan, and by the way, you should, if you need a mixing engineer or any audio needs, please talk to us. We'll plug him later, I promise. But that was one thing I did notice is like I didn't realize even when you were working with me, like you were like afterwards you're like, dude, I was stressing to make sure this looked good. So I'm like, you couldn't tell. Like you were so calm and collected, and you're like, again, but that's one of your major strengths is that you're so good, and that's probably why Jelly Roll saw that in you, and the other artists who have worked with you is like, and why they keep coming back is like, if you work with Tristan, you're getting a really good product, but you're also getting that experience that a lot of guys kind of like overlook, and that is the whole process. Like, yeah, you might have a platinum album on your wall, but are you a Like, like what's,
Exactly.
that's kind of what it is. And I think that was the one thing I never got that vibe from you, where it was like every time I came in, you treated me seriously. Even if you were working on stuff that was on #1 on the Billboard charts, you were like, no, I'm devoting my time to this project. I want to make sure this sounds good. And like, I always felt like I had your full attention when we were working together. And that's a huge deal.
Good. And I actually, now that you mention it, I do try my best to make sure that not only that you have my full attention as an artist in the room, but I even will make sure that my phone is on like a do not disturb, or I don't play on my phone really in sessions, because it makes you seem like you're not paying attention or you're not there, and I'm there in the moment the whole time. And honestly, man, dude, it takes a toll.
It does.
It's the amount of focus and attention that you have in a room like that for an artist or even the engineer. Like, it drains me.
Especially 10, 12 hours a day. I mean,
yeah.
and you're doing that every single day. And
yeah.
then your ears are getting fatigued, and like, it's tolling.
Speaking on that, breaks are okay. You can take breaks. Take 10, 15 minutes, walk outside, walk around in the room if you have to. Nobody's going to judge you. Stand up, get away from the computer, walk away from the microphone.
Yeah.
I always tell artists I work with, is like, hey, if you're uncomfortable, if you want to grab some water, you can stop me at any time. I'm just going to keep hitting this button until we feel like we love it.
Yeah.
And don't keep going because of me. And just, if you need water, if you need anything at all, you can stop at any time. This is your session. We're going to make sure that everything is great here and that you're comfortable.
And I love that because, my studio out in Bellevue, and then I have, obviously, here at Create It, it's like Create It's with a Walmart. So it's like, go grab coffee. We'll talk to you later. We'll talk to you in about 10 minutes. Or if I'm at home, I'm like, hey, Kroger's right down the hill from me. Go grab some food, or there's a bar next door. Go grab a drink or whatever. That gives me like a half an hour to get up, stretch, like you said, take the dog around the loop or something, and take a deep breath. So when they come back in, I'm focused, ready to go.
Yeah, and we can, if you go on for, I've been in sessions that I watched the sun set and rise in the same session.
It's gotta be amazing.
It's both amazing and terrible at the
You're like,
same
oh my
time.
God.
And those are some of the most fun sessions, though.
Yeah.
And breaks are necessary.
Oh yeah.
If you can't sit 8 hours straight staring at a computer or anything like that, or your ears just aren't going to work.
No.
And you got to stop, walk away, play on your phone, read a book, have some coffee, have a cigarette, do whatever it is you need to do.
Talk with your wife or something, yeah.
Yeah, talk with another human, or talk to nobody for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Do
If
some
not,
meditation.
dogs make a great talking point.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick second for a break for our sponsors, but we will be right back with this awesome conversation on the Created Studios podcast with Tristan Roberts. And welcome back to the Created Studios podcast. We're sitting here having an epic conversation with Tristan Roberts. Just a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, FUTUREBEAN Coffee. Again, every time I'm rolling in a session here, I'm always drinking it. It's fantastic. Head to your local Walmart, grab some FUTUREBEAN, move over Dunkin'. There's a new coffee in town. So Tristan, as we were talking off here for a second, the one thing I brought up to you, and I would love to get your perspective on, and it's such a huge thing these days. How important is it to have the right gear in a studio? Because I know some people are like, well, if you have like for instance, we had Leslie Brathwaite in here, who's a Full Sail alumni, who he told me opening weekend, he had a little Scarlett interface, little laptop, and he goes, if you can't make a #1 hit off of that, what are you doing? And I thought that was the best advice, and he could have gave to anybody. But what do you think, man?
I think the same thing. I think what you have in front of you is the best gear possible. Now, that being said, I'm always the guy that's always going to buy the in-game item.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and find what do I want to end up with eventually, and I piece it out one by one, because I don't like to do the buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell upward. I find I save more money whenever I figure out what item it is, save up, and buy for it. So if I know that I really like this 1073 preamp, I'm going to save up and buy the 1073 preamp. That being said, I didn't have a 1073 preamp starting out. I was recording people in recording sessions on a Scarlett 18920 whenever I started out. And I scratched together my $500 at the time and made it work.
Yeah.
And it's really, the gear matters. It does. You're only as strong as the weakest point in your chain. And to me, the money really directly correlates to the quality. But what we have now in home studios, especially with all of the U80 volts and all sorts of stuff, it's only going to get better. And what you can do at home now is, and what it's been for years, is way more than enough.
Oh yeah.
There's always better. There's always better. But unless you're coming to me with like a few $100,000 budget, right? Like I can get you the best gear in the game or the lowest or whatever it is. Start somewhere. And that's the biggest thing, is start somewhere and do something. Because if you're not able to do something, it's not going to matter once you have the expensive gear.
Yeah.
It's really good to start on the smaller stuff to learn to deal with what you have. It's almost parachute training.
I love that. That's such a good point, man. Oh, I get goosebumps. I love these conversations. And if you guys are at home listening to this on YouTube or Spotify, whatever, if you guys are getting anything out of this, please hit us up in the comments. We love to hear from you. But dude, I couldn't agree more. Like my first studio literally was, I had this little interface that I didn't even know how to use. I think I was like 16, and it was like Studio Musician 1. And literally, I plugged it into a 1999 Windows computer and didn't know what I was doing, but I was able to make noise with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm figuring it out. And then there was times where I'd go into a multi-million-dollar studio when I was in bands, and I'd ask them, how does that work? And they go to school and figure it out. And what I realized is when I went to school was exactly what you're just saying. What Leslie had said was, I could have a $90 interface and I can make a number one hit. Now, is having better technology and equipment make it easier or make things a little more possible? Absolutely. Is the rooms matter? Absolutely. But hey, if you need a room, Create Studios is here to help you. But that's the thing is, like, I think people get so sidetracked by, like, I need to have the new Apollo. I need to have these monitors. I got to have this. If I don't have this microphone, I'm not going to make it. It's like, dude, I've seen guys make like huge songs on an Amazon mic. Like, just learn how to use your equipment.
Yeah. I'll say this. Cheaper gear to expensive gear, with my studio now where I have it, it's really hard to mess it up.
Yeah.
It's really easy to mess things up on cheaper gear because it's unforgiving.
Yeah.
And you can say the same for about really expensive microphones and so on, is that you hear all this detail. And a lot of people don't like the expensive mics. They'll go for an SM7B or something like that, right? Because it feels more polished. It feels, the detail isn't there. You're not going to hear your mistakes as much. But what you're allowed to do with those more expensive mics is to have all of those nice flaws or perfect vocals heard, where you're not going to hear all of that detail on those cheaper mics, right? But what I found is that with my gear is that I can go now and go into any room, and it's really hard to mess it up. It's really hard to mess it up with good gear.
Yeah.
But that being said, you'll be way better using that gear if you learn on this cheaper stuff as well.
That's true.
And there's no reason why you can't make the cheaper stuff work.
Exactly. I love that. Dude, that's awesome. I guess that can segue perfectly into, as we start to wrap up this episode, what do you got going on now? Like, where is Tristan Roberts and towards the end of 2025, heading into 2026? What do you got going on?
So right now I'm making sure that I maintain that full-time studio production calendar. I'm constantly building and working towards that. I'm also working towards having more free time to do more songwriting, more production. And once I have that, I have my goals towards writing, production, and still mixing. I'm still doing a lot of mixing, and that's still one of my favorite things to do.
Absolutely. It's the bread and butter for you, man.
Yeah. But outside of that, I also have my band now is a new thing, and it's so weird to introduce myself as a vocalist in Dead Before Impact.
I love it, man.
And it's been such a fun experience, and it's been really good for me to build up as a producer as well. It's been really good to be on the other end for once and to be an artist.
I love that for you, dude. It is weird when you start flipping both sides. So, like, especially when you go do live shows, it's like you're dealing with a bad engineer or something. You're like, brother, you have no idea what I do during the day. I can do this myself. Just go home.
It's fun, but I also relate to them in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's the kindness thing that we talked about earlier. It goes a long
huge.
way in live music. It goes a
does.
long way. You wouldn't believe the amount of free stuff I get just by being nice to people.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, like when Hungry and Dangerous goes on tour and stuff like that, like the one thing I always say is I'm like, you just tell us if we're in the way. You just tell me what you need to do or what we need to do to make your life simple. And you'd be surprised. A lot of these bands out there who want to be rock stars, it's like that's being a rock star, is being cool to these guys who are putting on these shows. Because you know what? If you're good to them, they're going to make you sound amazing.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to be the jerk, okay, well, guess what? Enjoy your crappy sound for the evening. I mean, that's just how it works. And I think that's such a cool perspective because, like, I've been going through that for the last few years. Is like when I go to a cool venue and, like, you know, I'll be playing a show and my producer engineer cap goes on a little bit and I'm like, okay, I can't hear myself. But I also am that guy who's like, I will literally play without hearing myself because I just don't want to bother them. I'm like, you're doing great. You're doing fine. I'm just going to not hear myself. And I hope I'm doing good.
And knowing that and hearing that, I know that that's going on in artists' heads a lot of times. And I want to make sure that whenever I'm the audio guy, I want you to get out of your head and I want you to hear yourself and I want it to be perfect. So if you're hearing something, I want you to tell me.
Yeah.
Tell me what it is because we all have our jobs to do. And if you don't tell me what you're hearing, I can't
help you.
I can't
help you. Yeah.
So make sure that bother those guys a little bit. You know?
It just don't be very stern about things.
Yeah, there's a way about things that gets people to do what you need quicker. And it's not yelling at them. It's, hey man, do you need a coffee?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go grab a coffee. Would you like one?
Absolutely. And if there is something going on and you're like, I need to hear this or that, just you would be surprised. They're all human beings. We're all just trying to do a job, like you said. Just be cool. Like it's like going telling a plumber that your pipe's busted, but like you forget to tell them that the water's coming out. Like, hey, before you do anything, turn off the water. You're like, okay, that helps me out a ton. You know, it's just being good to people is so important in this industry. And I think that's honestly, that could be just being the title of this episode is just being good to people.
Be good to people.
So Tristan, if people want to find you, let's say they want to support the band or they want to hit you up for any audio related needs, where can they find you? And maybe if they want to book with you, where can they book at?
Yeah. So you can book with me right on my website at tristanrobertsaudio.com. Or you can find me anywhere on socials at Tristan T. Roberts, and that's TRISTAN T. Roberts.
Love it.
So easy enough.
Band, where can we find them?
My band is Dead Before Impact, and it's the same deal there. It's at Dead Before Impact anywhere.
Love it. Consistency and uniform. I love it. Well, Tristan, man, I'm so happy that you and I got to do this podcast today. It's been years since you and I seen each other. I hope it doesn't go another few years before we actually get to hang out and do something again. But thank you for coming in, and thank you so much for being a part of this podcast.
Dude, thank you so much for having me out. This was awesome. It's been a fun time. And it's really cool to see you again. It's been too long. Way
too long. Again, it can't be this long again until we see each other.
Absolutely not.
But this will wrap up today's episode of the Creative Studios podcast. We're available every day from 11 to 10 if you want to come in and check the place out and see where we record this at. As well, if you want to check out past episodes or anything we have going on, you can always find us out on Instagram at Creative Studios Franklin or follow us on Spotify or YouTube. We'll be back next week with another epic episode. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you so much for joining.